Alright guys, it's Comic again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. The drama continues on the gentleman's agreement here in Black Ops 7. The pros are massively debating behind the scenes right now what they do about the snipers. Some players want it to be banned entirely, other players want it to be in entirely in its current form. Scrap, however, wants to come up with a compromise where the snipers will be allowed, but only in a certain fashion. Are we happy about this idea? What does he have to say on Shotzzy's thoughts as well, especially with Shotzzy give his perspective on what he would do with the snipers? Scrap says he's just giving a PR answer for the fans. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I'd greatly appreciate it. Lots to get into today. Lots of angles to this one. This is Zoomer's latest tier list for the season. Stallions in the S+ tier. FaZe in the S tier. And then it only goes down from there. Look, as it stands, who knows? Apart from OpTic probably be the best team. Thieves are looking good in scrims over the last few days. Probably not the best tier list I've ever seen, but still, as Falcons say, the lights were too bright when he made this tier list. And well, we'll see how Falcons get on as well, because they have had an up and down start to the season, to say the very least. This is Dashy's M15. I just want to share it real quick, because over the last few days there's been lots of talk about gentlemen's agreements, what the meta's going to be. Are we happy with the current meta? I think it is a question, because I think we knew from the beta. It is funny how it works out, that you know from like day 2 of the beta what the meta is going to be, because the pros gravitate towards the easy to use, do it all, relatively fast firing weapons. And that's just what they use. And if there's another weapon that's kind of out of the ordinary of that, then it gets banned. So I think we knew from like the second day of the beta that the M15 was becoming the primary AR that the pros liked. And well, it was same for the Drazah on the SMGs. I think there are also potentially other viable SMGs, and I would prefer a world where the SMG and the AR feel very different, because to me, like, I'm not gonna lie, the Drazah and the M15, yeah, they're different weapons obviously, but they're not radically different really. The Drazah is pretty good over range, it doesn't have much recoil. Again, it's like the classic stack it with attachments, easy to use SMG that doesn't fire too fast and doesn't have crazy recoil. You know, I think the Raiden, or whatever it's called, could be a good option in the SMG category as well. You know, it kind of make it more like it was in Modern Warfare 3 with the ReeaL, right? Like we had the ReeaL 9 and the MCW. I actually preferred that meta to what we have today, because the MCW was basically the ACR. Very good, but slower firing AR. The ReeaL, on the other hand, was a very different weapon. So it felt like things were different. I'd prefer to have a meta like that, you know, with a Scorpion and an AN94, as it kind of sometimes even was back in Black Ops 2, or even MP7, and even MSMC to a certain degree. The weapons in that game were very different. Black Ops 3 is probably a better example. The VMP was, or even the Vespa, the dominant SMG of that year, very fast firing. The ARs that were more dominant were, okay, the M8, the 4-round burst, but then also the, you know, the HVK, which was, okay, relatively fast firing, but not what the VMP was doing. The Man of War are other options. So, look, if you're going to have a 2-gun meta, I'd prefer it to be like Modern Warfare 3 with the ReeaL and the MCW than what we have in this game, where the guns are kind of just the same. This is, however, what the players have been doing with the M15. They've taken the muzzle off it to try and balance things out a little more after the M15 dominated the start of the game. There's still a little bit of talk about whether the M8 could be viable, whether the Maddox could be used as well when that arrives into the game shortly. I don't expect the pros to mess around with that. They're probably just going to ban it. It would have been nice as well if the, whatever they call it, the MPC or whatever, basically the MSMC in this game, if that was any good, but it's kind of not really. So that's how things currently stand. However, let's talk about this drama on the snipers and what Scrap and Shotzzy, among others, have had to say on it over the last few days. So Shotzzy has given the point that entertainment over competitive, you guys don't see the bigger picture, we are nothing without the scene. TJ says the snipers, it's awful right now, search and destroy, and Scrap says it's all about the entertainment and all this. So there's been a big debate. The community, of course, is fully in favour of the snipers being in. I watched that 25k tournament last night, and search and destroy is much more fun to watch when the snipers are in play. You've got to wonder, is this guy going to hit the sniper? Is he going to get counter-sniped by the other guy? Look, there's only one sniper per team. It is very powerful, and the sniper does dictate the pace of search and destroy, and it does dictate a number of the first blood engagements in the game. But also, you've got to work around it to a certain degree. Okay, do I pull out my own sniper to counter him? Or do I say, all right, the last 3 rounds on defense, he went to A, so this round he's going to go to B and we're going to bang out A. But if he goes A anyway, then we're going to get picked in a 4v3. But also he's got to back up because he's got the sniper, play a different angle. We can take control of the bomb site. You know, there's plenty of options, I think, in terms of depth. Scrap made the point the other day that he thinks it has less depth with snipers. I don't really see how that makes sense. So Shotzzy, that's what he said, right? He sat down on the OpTic watch party or the podcast setup, whatever, and he talked about it. We saw the clip yesterday where he basically said, don't agree with Scrap on the depth thing. He thinks snipers actually make the game more interesting. Now, this is Dashy's POV with the sniper here. He was playing with it last night. Purge goes for the chow, just guns Purge, hits the headshots, and then he goes into a gunfight with Nasty, and they trade, which I don't think I've seen this yet. We saw this back in Black Ops 4. There's actually a famous clip on Arsenal where Simp and Dashy trade shots. I mean, this was a disgusting shot from Dashy, by the way. To aim in and get that shot hit was very, very impressive. But they shoot at the same time. Like, you can see here, he gets the hit marker. You can see the remnants of the hit marker there on the screen. Like, you can actually see the bullet firing in from Nasty. And then just before it hits him, he then gets his own shot off. And then they trade. So, yeah, I don't think I've seen that one before. It's pretty remarkable. And yeah, the sniper is currently very good. I think people are going to look at this first kill and they're going to say, look, Dashy probably hits this shot anyway, to be perfectly honest. Obviously, the aim assist helps, probably, getting him to the headshot. Shots, because, like, you know, you can't even see Purge behind this, but Dashy obviously just flicks on and gets the gunfight win. I think, honestly, this is the sniper, but it's also just these weird hitboxes. Like, you can see Purge has gone for the slides. Dashy's not even really hit him, but he's still got the gunfight win anyway. Whatever. People will say, and I agree that I think we should take the aim assist off the snipers. I think it would be better if it was just pure gunny with the snipers. But even though the aim assist is on, I still think the game is better with them in. It's more interesting to watch. I think there's more depth. You're not seeing a million of them on the map anyway, so it is what it is. And that's what Nadeshot says, that people are crying right now, but give it a few months. If you've got to play with this, you will find a way to deal with it. And look, I'm going to share a couple of clips from Scrap in a second, and he mentions that, well, back in the day it was different because in Black Ops 4, Black Ops 3, no aim assist on the snipers. And yeah, maybe, sure. And that's true. And I also agree. I think we shouldn't have aim assist on the snipers. I think it's better how it used to be those years ago. But if you go back to Black Ops 2, there was aim assist on the snipers. And we still use the snipers. And they were very powerful. They dictated the game, but you could use smokes to counter them. There are other things you could do that you could work around it. You could counter snipe. You could, you know, use a smoke and then they'd put the thermal on. You'd run cold-blooded, whatever. It was interesting what it meant for the game. So this is what Scrap has to say. Couple of clips to share here, one of which where he's roasting Shotzzy, and the other one where he's talking about the new idea that pros have come up with to balance this properly.
I'll look at Nate shots on snipers, bro. I don't have to, because like they're talking about a completely different point that I'm trying to make. Like, of course, everyone knows snipers should be in COD. Everyone wants snipers in COD. But this shit is like, what is this, bro? This is a shotgun. Why don't we use shotguns? This is a shotgun. Dead ass, a shotgun. It's a walk down. Look at this thing. This is a walk down. It's called a walk down pistol. Like they are on a. I don't know. They're talking to someone else. I don't know who they're arguing with, but they're talking to someone else. What about Shotzzy take? Again, he's talking. I don't even. It's like, I don't know. That might have been the most PR answer I've ever seen in my life. Like no one is arguing that. I don't know. Like, no one's arguing that. No one's arguing that they should not be in COD, but they should not be in COD with no aim assist. They should not be in competitive COD with no aim assist. Aim assist. Aim assist. Target aim assist. Off. None. Zero. Nothing. Put him in the game. BO4 had sniping perfect? Exactly. And what was the difference? Can anyone let me know the difference? If anyone can shout out the difference, I'll give 5 to the chat. I'll give 5 to the chat if we can tweet out. If anyone can tell me the difference on BO4 snipers compared to the past 5 years. No aim assist? Bang. Right on the fucking money, boys. Right on the fucking money. Right on the money, bro. You guys are fucking smarter than I thought. Ranking snipers like CS, bro. I think it's gonna be good. I think it's good for both the players and the viewers, bro. You can only use it 2 rounds. No. It's not only 2 rounds. You only have 2 lives with it. We're gonna start with 2. We're gonna start with 2. If it needs more, we can add 1. Or if they take the aim assist off, this rule goes away. If they take aim assist off, this goes away and you can snipe any round you want. Okay? But with the aim assist, we're gonna do 2 lives. I'm pretty like I think 2 lives. So you got to be strategic of when you pull it out and you know like what you want to go for. So like the one cheesy thing it might bring is like people saving, you know what I mean? People like saving. So like if you're in a 1v3 with a sniper, like it's either you can go for it, you know, give you guys like this crazy 1v3 factor with a sniper that he might clutch it, but if you die, you only have like one more chance with it. You know what I mean? Because I feel like right now with how the sniper is, I mean, you guys can, again, I might get roasted for this shit, but I feel like I think most pros are actually like, they think the idea is pretty cool. How would you control it? Just like how you really control like a regular GA, you know what I mean? Like if you were to break snaking GA, like, you know, like the scrim shit, probably like that.
So what do we think about this only 2 lives with the sniper idea? I think the first thing I thought about this is, okay, it's getting a little complicated now with these GAs and a little bit difficult to enforce. But I guess let's talk about it, because the idea is that right now, every round, someone on both teams has a sniper, right? And okay, maybe that's not always the case, because sometimes you get one of the teams decides, right, we're going to try and counter the sniper by banging out this bomb site and going this way. The pistol also being very good doesn't, you know, help things, because there have been some games where if you've got a sniper and then you're stuck with the pistol, you're kind of cooked. In this game, that's definitely not the case. Of course, overkill is, you know, that's never been a thing that's really been allowed in competitive play. But Scrap's idea is that it's not 2 rounds per game, it's actually 2 lives. And that gets like a little bit maybe trickier to, let's say, keep up with over time. But it is an interesting idea, I suppose. Maybe GAs have gone too far when we're talking about the amount of lives that a player is allowed to use it. But, okay, let's say I'm Dashy, I pull out the sniper round 1, and I get picked by the other team's sniper. So the next round I get to choose, okay, do I snipe again and counter-snipe him, but this is my final chance? That guy has not died yet with the sniper, so he gets to keep going. Which is, well, it's an interesting power play, isn't it? Because if I'm a godlike sniper and I keep getting kills with it, and I never die, right? Like, and as Scrap says, I just save it at the end of the round, like in CS, where, well, I've been alive with it for 2 rounds now, I've got 2-3 kills, I'm just going to save the AWP so I can bring it into the next rounds. If I go for the clutch and I die, then I only have 1 more life to go. You know, it's interesting. I don't know if it's the worst idea ever. It's just one of these strange ideas to implement. Scrap says that he thinks the pros are kind of down for it, because the pros are generally of the opinion that, yeah, the sniper is overpowered. And I think it is pretty overpowered. But is it, you know, there's other guns that are overpowered, and yet we still use them, right? So there's other things that are OP and we still use them. So I don't think there's anything wrong with the sniper being used, but I think there could be another way to balance it. I guess Scrap's argument might be that in terms of depth, when he's talking about depth of search, probably what he means is that right now everything is kind of the same. Both teams have 1 sniper. And look, is it better to watch the no snipers at all? Absolutely. But there is an argument that in Counter-Strike, for example, not every team has an AWP all of the time, right? Like sometimes the teams will be on half buys, they'll have different weapons, but they might just run 5 AKs. Even the defensive team will not always have an AWP out, sometimes they'll have 2. So, you know, that adds some variation. So I think that Shotzzy's right in terms of it adds depth in terms of what's going on the map. I think it's more interesting, there's more thought process, there's more strategy when snipers are in play. But Scrap's argument, I guess, is that, well, right now, basically every team has a sniper and the opening engagements are based on just the sniper trying to get a pick effectively, which, okay, also fair argument, but is that worse than just everyone running the same gun and banging out a bomb site? You know, I don't think so. This is maybe one idea to work around it. But as Scrap was asked, okay, like how do we really enforce this? Because this just feels absolutely ripe to get abused, right? Especially if it's, oh, well, yeah, he used the sniper that round and then he didn't die, so he's still on 2 lives, and then he did die, so now he's got 1 left, and then he waited a few rounds and pulled it back out again, and then he didn't die that. So, you know, it's a bit complicated. Now, of course, you're then trusting the player to keep track of that themselves and to agree to the GA. Of course, the league aren't going to do anything about it. It'd be kind of funny to see this play out from a commentary perspective, because the commentators would be like, oh, well, I guess he's putting the sniper away this round when obviously maybe it's been working for him. He's got like a ton of kills, but then he's died twice, and it's like, oh, well, I guess he's putting it away. It's like, well, you know, no, but the GA is enforced, but of course the league, they're not going to enforce any of that type of GA. The players are going to handle it themselves, but look, Champs Finals, what if I accidentally pull out the sniper rifle 3 times in the final round 11? Uh-oh. Then, you know, what happens, right? The GA doesn't hold, or I lose scrims for a month, or whatever. So that's the discussion. Intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comments below, really, because I think there's some interesting debate to be had about this. And I see, to some extent, both arguments on the depth discussion. Some more versatility or variability would be good. And Scrap says, look, if they get rid of the aim assist in the CDL modes on the snipers, then we'll just go back to, you know, how it was. But if it does get removed, will they? I don't know. Intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff as ever in the comment section below. So thanks for watching as always. Take care, and I'll see you next time.